Welcome into episode 111 of the What the Futures podcast. We have a packed show. We've got Nathan Kuhn joining us this week here. I want to talk to Nathan about some crop marketing stuff. I also have Tyler Yaremchuk. We're going to talk Olympics. We're going to talk about everything going on in Italy right now as we get towards the tail end of the Olympic run. All right, let's get after this. Hey, folks. Welcome to the What the Futures podcast, your quick guide to better farming decisions. Welcome into episode 111 of the What the Futures podcast. Of course, recorded each and every week in the UPL studio. We've been talking about the Smart Buy program, the Grower Rewards program. We had the calculator out. We were doing the rebate number, trying to figure out how to extract some savings for the farm here the last number of weeks. But it's also time to talk about products like Battalion. Battalion, one of the great herbicides that you can spray on your wheat fields, your durum fields, your spring wheat, your CPS. Just a fantastic product to use. 4 active ingredients. I can't name them. The words are too big for me to name, but it's one simple product to use, 4 active ingredients. And hey, it's been making waves on our farm, just the ease of this product. And it's one of those products that you just have a little sense of pride after you look at the job it's done on your wheat fields. All right, we have a packed show. We've got Nathan Kuhn joining us this week here. So I'm going to go over a couple things, and then I want to talk to Nathan about some crop marketing stuff. I also have Tyler Yaremchuk in this week's episode. We're going to talk Olympics. We're going to talk about everything going on in Italy right now, and just a few things shaping or happening in the NHL here as well as we get towards the tail end of the Olympic run. It's been awesome. One of my positive moments for the week has been these wonderful Olympics. Haven't caught as much as I've wanted to, catch, but certainly great to see some Canadian performances, some great athletes from our country. And again, the margin for error is just non-existent. The slightest thing just blows my mind. How a 1/10 of a second, a 1/2 a second, a slight tweak of the leg the wrong way, whatever it is, it's incredible what you need to do to pull off the gold medal or to be in the running for one of these medals. It's unbelievable. And I sit there from the chair or the couch and I look at the performances, and you sit there and you're, oh, why'd you make that pass? Or, oh, why'd you, you're like criticizing. And then like for me, I get on my skates earlier this week and it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. I have no reason to criticize anybody on any Olympic athlete, any athlete at all, because they just need to see me take a twirl around the Ardrossan rink or at the Toefield Curling Club this weekend and see. I got a long ways to go. I got a lot of improvement that I can do. All right. Okay. I want to talk about some lighter crop marketing stuff here in just a moment. But before we do that, positive moments for this week. Again, we had a great family day weekend. We went and hit the bowling alley up the one day. The kids love bowling. If you have kids, even if you think your kids are too small, like 3 years old is no problem. Finn loves bowling. It's a great atmosphere, usually some fancy lights. You can get some snacks going for the family, have a couple of cocktails. It's a really fun environment. Music's playing. For us, they had the Olympics on the big screen. It's really, really cool. Anyways, we had a great time bowling. We had a great time skating. We went out for dinner as a family and just had a great family day weekend. And I hope you did as well. I always appreciate those moments. All right, Nathan, welcome into the show here. It's been a minute since you've joined us. I appreciate you taking the time to jump on here on a frigid, February night. Winter is back. We were going over positive moments. I had a couple with the kids, with family day. How about yourself? What's going on in Unity, Saskatchewan? And you got any positive moments to share with the listeners this week?
Yeah, actually, well, and you get to talk about your kids often, and I've got 4 of my own, but we did our very first boys trip ice fishing on family day. So I took my three boys who are 8, 6, and 5. And we headed up north about 4 hours, and we stayed the night. No mom, just a boys' night, eating chips and drinking bad pop for your teeth. And we did some fishing.
Beef
and,
jerky.
Yeah, we had beef jerky and sausage, and vegetables were optional. And you know what? I was thoroughly impressed with my kids. It was cold, and the fishing was, truthfully, it was awful. And they were troopers about it. I mean, they hung out there all day, and we had an absolute blast. They said they'd do it again, even though we were sure glad we had sausage, because there definitely wasn't enough fish to feed anybody. That's for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. Those are some of my core memories, man. Thinking about ice fishing with my dad and my brother and his buddies too, right? Like a terrible day on the ice was still a core memory and a great day. So good on you. Did you try out, like, did you get one of the fishing hooks at the conference in December? Like, were you able to put that thing in the water, or did you not get one of those?
Actually, I did. And Yvonne was nice enough to hook up my one boy, Leo, with his own. And that was all that he brought. He had that one fishing hook still in the package in his pocket. And he said, "This is the one I want to use." Now, unfortunately, like I said, the fishing was poor. I don't want to blame the lure, but something wasn't working for us.
Well, apparently there's some guys going out, not this weekend, but next weekend, that they're bringing them out as well. So we'll get another sample size. We won't just put all of our hopes into you and your boys. We'll try to spread it out and see if we can get some luck going on that lure. So, yeah. Good stuff, man. It's been a fun week. Olympics have been fun. Canada squeaking by here today. Watched it I was preschool pickup. I thought there was an intermission, and so I'm waiting for the kids, and this mom, Asha, comes flying in with her big phone, and she's like, "You're not watching this?" I'm like, "I thought it was intermission." She's like, "It's 3-on-3. There's like 8 minutes to go." I'm like, "What?" "All right, let's watch this then." So I caught the game-winning goal in the lobby of the preschool. But did you catch the game today, or did you have a chance to?
I did, and I actually manipulated my entire day's schedule around that game, and I knew that I would have time at the end of the third period to make it to a meeting that I had lined up. And I was literally watching the TV with all my stuff on, like, let's go. And then we tied it up, and I had to hit the road. So I was listening to it, the overtime, but I didn't get to see it till I finally got to where I was going to see Marner put that in. And oh man, we like to keep it interesting, but I mean, good on Binnington. That save at the end, I don't think that's being talked about enough, just how clutch that was.
Yeah, actually, I haven't even seen that replay yet. My buddy texted me that he's like, "I love Jordan Binnington." I'm like, "You hate Jordan Binnington? Like, what are you talking about?" And he's like, "No, when you see the save, you're going to love Jordan Binnington as well." I'm like, "Oh, all right. I got to check that out yet tonight." So you're off to a meeting today. What's going on the farm? Like, what are you guys working on? Is all the grain shipped out? You guys got everything cleaned up, or what's keeping you guys busy?
You know what? We were really happy. We typically do market a lot of grain for that October, November, December timeframe, and we got. I'm a big fan of grain bags. I quite like them, and we actually got like 95% of our grain bags were gone before the cold and the snow, and then we did do some specialty canola that, of course, is picked up. And my dad markets a little bit differently than I do, and he typically waits. And in the canola world, of course, as you know, that's been a good decision. So we've got some specialty stuff that still goes out. We had our oats finally went out, a little bit of barley movement, and now this laddered setup of canola sales. So kind of every week the trucks run every week, and we pick away at fixing stuff on the side. So it's been a steady grain movement, but nothing too crazy that we got to, run a whole bunch of trucks for a period of time.
You bet. Awesome. And like Brian, you got Brian in good shape here. I know he had an injury last summer. He's in the shop working his magic with the equipment, or you guys got him all healthy and good to go?
Yeah, Brian's back in action. He's so if I haven't broke something, he'll find something to fix either way. So I think he's rebuilding a motor right now for the one neighbor. He's pretty sought after in that line of work. So he stays busy definitely between helping out the neighbors and fixing all the things that I break. He's on it pretty steady.
Yep.
And I mean, anybody that hauls grain knows you can't drive those trucks for more than 2 days without having to fix something. So
yeah, speaking of that, like we got a dump of snow at our place here. What did you guys get for action in the Unity area this last couple of days?
We were actually pretty disappointed. I mean, it's an icy black wasteland out here. The skidoo's been put away for about 10 days, and we really ended up with nothing but the wind and the cold out of this. I mean, there was a little bit of snow, but it piled up in some trees and some ditches, and fields are still pretty bare out here.
Yeah, I live in this little weather bubble. I was talking about it a bit earlier in the show as you were joining, and it's the ice I have in my yard is insane, but lots of snow, lots of moisture, all that stuff. But talked to a farmer that took a drive down to Arizona and back, and wildfire, drought, dryness, like that is a concern. You don't have to go very far south to run into that being a talking point here in February. And I'm in a slightly different world right now, but weather is going to start impacting these markets before we know it. Maybe it already is a little bit.
Well, and I got to quote my grandpa, because I used to bring up snow conditions all the time, and he'd always say, well, I never lost a crop in January, and I suppose I've never lost one in February either. But the thing is, especially that U.S. drought monitor is concerning, but it's also starting to get some attention, and people are starting to watch. So yeah, I have no doubt that anybody that's been down there to see it themselves, there's potential setup for some real problems, especially in that central area.
Yeah. There's I'll be very keen on catching the latest spring outlooks here. I think BAM Weather has one middle of next week, so I'll be catching some of those. What do you think about these markets here? Like, you've got a little bit of strength in some of the peas. The values have climbed a little bit. Lentils have climbed a little bit. Feed barley is getting a little bit more exciting, at least for the spring delivery timeframe. New crops getting a bit of action. Canola market's been on a good run here the last 6-7 weeks. Are you starting to feel a bit more optimistic? Were you already feeling optimistic? Like, as a whole, how are you feeling about commodities?
You know what? No, I don't want to say the word optimistic. I'd like to believe that I'm going to be opportunistic. I definitely wasn't one of those people that had a run up to, 685 on canola futures on my bingo card. Obviously it's a great thing, and it's a good thing when prices are climbing. But for myself, I don't want to act scared, but I also know where the break evens are on my farm. And as of right now, it's more stressful because every day is today the day that I make more forward sales. Is the day that I book in that physical. So I think it's giving us a really good opportunity. It's just at what point, you pull the trigger for your own operation. And I still believe the downside to this could be pretty bad if this bull market doesn't keep getting fed. I mean, especially as you well know, this isn't a canola story right now. We're riding this EPA and the biofuels and the soy oil story. And if that story doesn't come to fruition, I worry where the bottom might end up for canola if we don't have some great announcement in March from our Eastern trading partner.
Yeah, I have March 9th. I just wrote it on the piece of paper and circled it a few times, as we're chatting. And everything's gone right for canola. Like, it was so bad. Well, we're going up on like a year ago now, but there were some very dark moments last year. Everything's been going the right way. The stories that come out have been positive and helping, lift this market up from those doldrums. But it's a reminder that, you have to be, in my opinion, prepared to start, figure out your plan at this time. Markets go up and down. But with everything that's been good news, will that continue? To what degree, to what level? You can't guarantee that. But what you can guarantee is that start of setting your plan, your crop marketing plan, your financial plan in motion for the year. You can really set yourself up to thrive in 2026. Like, this is the time where, like, that's what, just keeps ticking away in the back of my mind is like, okay, remember your training, figure out your favorite strategies, practice those every single day, because you're going to be executing these things sooner than later, and be ready. Yeah.
Oh, exactly. And I do for anybody that was at the conference and saw my presentation, I laid out a pretty specific canola example where I was going to, hold my shorts down to 605 and then let it rally back up and sell at 685. And I'm no different than anybody else. That's written down in my book. I have to stay disciplined and true to that because, had you talked to me on December 10th, I had trouble believing that we were going to get here. Well, if I had trouble believing that a mere 2 months ago, I should probably be doing something about it to lock in those prices. And obviously I have some ideas on what to do with it going forward, but the biggest thing for me is just getting that first physical sale on it. And then of course I manage it with the hedge account.
Yeah. Yeah, you bet. What about wheat? I want to ask you about your acreage plans here for 2026, if there's been any swapping around here, but what are you thinking of this wheat market right now? Is it giving you a little bit of optimism as well? Or are you just kind of sitting there saying, I love combining you wheat, but man, you make it difficult?
When we've had this conversation, and it's so bad every year, you sit down and you're trying to figure out what's profitable, and I'm trying to make wheat not even profitable. I'm trying to make wheat break even just to feel good in my heart of hearts that I'm going to grow it, because I just can't let my baby go. And now I really do. I think there's some positives there. I'm definitely not predicting that it's going to be great. I did swap out some of my wheat acres for my feed and malt barley just because it pencils so well right now. But I definitely didn't abandon a lot of my wheat acres. But that is a story out here where guys are definitely reducing. We're seeing a really big uptick in specialty acres, or what I'll refer to as specialty acres, which is anything you don't, trade on paper. You're seeing a lot of guys going to crops that maybe they didn't do and just trying to eliminate wheat. And yellow peas there's something in my area. There's guys excited about yellow peas, and there's quite a few going in.
Well, I had Sarah on Cup of Coffee this week, and after we're done recording, she's like, shoot, I wanted to let you know, Ryan, that I had an $8 yellow pea target hit for new crop in Lloydminster. And I was like, all right, I'll try to slide that into Friday's episode. So Sarah with Trigger Grain, there's your $8 yellow pea target hitting this week. Yellow, if you can make the $8 level work, or better than wheat, then by all means. I'm not here to say it's good or bad one way or the other, but I noticed, of course, we're big. John Deere Operations feeds into Harvest Profit for us, and big Harvest Profit vans. And what just kind of kicked me in the butt this week is I was looking at financials, and I could look at the canola number, the profit number as a whole, including our brokerage statements in there. Everything was in there, right? And I'm seeing that profit number, and there's a profit there, guys. So it's great. And then I go and I add all the other crops in, our wheat, our malt, and our green peas, and the number didn't change. And I was like, wait a second, like it should do something, like plus or minus something from there. And it didn't change. And what I have in my scenario, I didn't even realize this, but I've got that basket on its own breaking even, and canola is that's the one I can't screw up, Nathan, because that's the one paying the bills for our farm in Dormy, Saskatchewan in 2026.
Yeah, and I think you'd struggle to find anybody with a much different story, which also leads me into why I am concerned for canola. I mean, the fact is we're going to have this huge carry out unless China does something crazy, but everybody's canola acres are maxed in my area. It's what makes money. And if you can put it somewhere, it's going somewhere. And I think that's the story all across Western Canada.
You could tell me if I'm wrong on this one, Nathan, but Bar Chart Agriculture, they're my new account that I'm following as of this evening on X. They wrote, for our friends north of the U.S. border and U.S. growers planted canola, this has been a fun one to watch. NOV 26 futures have rallied sharply since the Christmas lows. Does this price strength mean Canadian farmers load up on canola acres this spring? My comment was that the acres were already projected higher before this rally started. This helps solidify those plans. When we were sitting in Moose Jaw in the first week of December, I didn't hear anybody tell me they're planting the same or less canola in 2026. Right? Am I wrong?
No, all you had people complaining about the cost of inputs, but there was no way anybody was reducing their canola acres. It was still the only thing that penciled profit.
Exactly. So now you sit here, we've rallied $2 a bushel. That's important. Like, that is so important for farms in Western Canada to see that, realize that, and secure that and not mess around. You could go mess. I'm going to go mess around with my green peas and my malt. I'm going to go mess around with those ones a little bit because the consequences aren't going to be that big. I can't mess around with my canola marketing in 2026. I'll tell you that much.
No, when that's your bread and butter. And I mean, that's why when you're talking these 685 levels and stuff, that's profitable on my farm. It's currently the only thing that is profitable. I'm not going to risk that. I'm locking that in and praying for rain.
Yeah. Praying for a good growing season for sure. All right. What about anything else strategy wise that you're looking? You don't have to give us all the secret sauce, all the ingredients, but anything else that's on your radar. Full disclosure, I have call options on Kansas City wheat right now. I'm not planning a parade of riches by any means, but I do like the setup in Kansas City wheat. Anything on your side that is exciting?
I've been doing a lot in the canola market between quite a few spreads just to make sure, keeping me honest, that I start making those sales, especially above 720. And I've just been shorting futures as every day we get a new high, I'm just adding to the position. I believe that me being wrong would be a good thing because I'm not as forward sold as I maybe typically would be at this time of year. I'm a heavy forward seller. I love moving grain off combine November.
Yep.
That's when my cash flow needs are, and that's where my comfort level is. So lots of shorts in the oil seeds that have been creeping up. I had a really good one when heating oil did its dip. I didn't want to secure physical delivery, but I did get some long calls. I overdid it a little bit because I bought 2 heating oil calls, which, if you're familiar, they're big contracts. And my fuel's going to be very reasonably priced this year anyways.
Good for you, Nathan. Good work. Yeah, I think a buck in the Lunchbox crew chat, around a buck two is kind of the numbers I was seeing lately. So I don't know if that's changed, but yeah. Okay, cool, man. Anything else when you look at the farm here in 2026? Anything, any changes for you guys? Anything you're looking at? I know fertilizer is expensive. I believe farmland in Unity, Saskatchewan, is still expensive. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that one. But any big changes for you guys this year?
Oh, not so much changes. There's a couple pieces of land that we currently farm that might be coming up, or the landowners are looking at different things because our land values have skyrocketed. On the inputs front in our operation, we've taken a bit of a shift, and we're really focusing on the debt reduction and longevity of our equipment, maybe not trading quite as often as we normally would have, running the iron a little bit longer. We rebuilt one drill last year, and we've kind of said, she's she's been a good piece of iron, and we're going to keep running it. So I think that too, for anybody that prices equipment, the iron cost, when you get that on your little Excel sheet and you start seeing that number creeping up, well, the best way to stay profitable is reduce your costs. So that's been a focus of ours, and that's going to start paying dividends this year, because we have equipment that'll be paid off, and then getting rid of that payment to get that machinery cost down for us is important for us this year. And we did have really good crops last year, and that really helped out. But it's one of those, we need one more really good year to make sure that we're sitting at a more comfortable level where we're running on more of a cash basis rather than operating loans and, getting that fertilizer and watching it accumulate interest. It's not real fun.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of fertilizer, are you subject to current market conditions, or are you guys positioned?
We are 100% bought, actually, and we, by no stroke of genius, it's not like we knew anything anybody else did, but we timed it really well. And we bought some for the summer fill program, but we didn't feel like it was an attractive enough price to fill the bins. And then early January, we sat down and we just kind of said, we don't see any downside coming. Let's just book it so we know we can get it. And 10 days later, it started climbing and has continued to climb. So luckily, we have it all met. It's actually coming in every day. It comes in a little bit at a time. And by the end of next week, should all be in the bins and we'll be ready to go.
No, good for you guys. It's not pleasant out there. But the answer I was looking for, Nathan, was I listened to the What the Futures podcast. And in November, Ryan was saying something about, this might be a quiet time. You should look at buying fertilizer. But anyways, I'll digress on that one.
Well, and we'll tell the crowd the truth. I was texting you in the background, like, should I? And it's like, would you just do it already? You guys are all talking about doing it, but nobody's doing it.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get this done. Yeah. Good stuff, man. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. Is this the time where I ask you to come speak in Brandon, keep the road show going? Nathan Kuhn in front of a bunch of great farmers in Brandon, Manitoba. Are you up for that in December?
If you'll have me, and then the crowd wants to hear it, I'd love to join you. Actually, my wife was asking me, and I said, I'm not sure. Maybe this one trick pony's all done, but I guess I'll take the show on the road.
For the early, the farmers that are registering, again, you get this, right? You go to a different area and it's new people, and yeah, it's a great presentation, and the more that you can, I hope you get a call from some of the big tours out there that say, hey, we're going to pay you a pile of money to come on the road and do this presentation, because it's a dandy, and the guys in Farms in Brandon will have a great benefit by getting a chance to check it out. So, and the kids, man, when you bring the kids, they're going to have a blast, because this complex is all one. It's all connected. There's the hockey rink, the curling rink, massive halls. We could have our own dog and pony show in there. Like, it's insane. So it's a hockey theme. So just make sure the kids bring their gear, and we'll make sure that they're having some fun with the activations, because we're thinking, we're thinking of some pretty fun stuff actually for this one. We always come up with something fun, but we got some interesting ideas floating around. So, yeah.
Well, that sounds like a really good time. I'm really looking forward to it.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for coming on tonight. And hey, go Canada, go, right? We got to get through Finland now. And the ladies play for gold here on Thursday against the U.S. That's a big game. And then we'll see what gets cooked up for Sunday. So let's go Canada.
Go Canada, go.
Well, Nathan's always fun to have on the show. Candid conversation. No baloney. Throws it out as it is. So always appreciated. And look forward to having Nathan and Brandon here December 1st and 2nd, 2026. You can get those details at ryandenny.ca. Now, I forgot to ask you, if you're still hanging out with us, which I'm sure you are, go hit that subscribe button. Give us a little bit of perspective as well. Give us a little rating, how you enjoy the show. What do you enjoy about it? What can we work on? Certainly appreciate that. All right. Now, of course, shout out to one of our great sponsors, John Deere, been a part of the show here since basically day one. And of course, we're a big fan of John Deere Operations Center on our farm. My brother, I said last week, he promised that he would work on some planning, some office time, just getting some things organized, getting some fields labeled, some crop plans made. He did that. And the cool thing, folks, is he's updated John Deere Operations Center. He's our guy. He's our ops guy. He's awesome at it. But then from there, I click the button, Harvest Profit, gets a boost, gets updated information. So our crop marketing is up to snuff there. That moves a whole bunch, gets really tweaked and dialed in. And then the other cool part is that, and as I'm recording, I just got an email from Kyle at Egg i3, but our Egg i3 file is updated as well. You do one step in John Deere Operations Center and everything else flows. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. And certainly, thanks, buddy. Thanks to my brother for taking the time to do his part this week. Now, John Deere Operations Center, set up, manage your critical farm operations, plan work to reduce errors and gain efficiencies. 2026, all about efficiencies, cost savings, right? Monitor job quality and productivity in real time. And then, of course, my favorite part, analyzing this season's results or last season's results, 2025, to improve the 2026 growing season. All right, check that out at deere.ca or talk to your local dealership and they will point you in the right direction. Now, we didn't get to talk markets yet. I kind of teased that we were going to talk markets and we didn't get to. Well, of course we did with Nathan, but some of the things I wanted to just highlight here, nothing scary or major, but one thing I did catch, red flag, going, talking about data entry. I was reviewing, I guess I shouldn't say data entry, but I was reviewing our grain contracts and we had put in a target here for new crop canola that triggered. And we've got some futures first contracts, but this one was a net price target. And I was just verifying the details and I put in the futures and then I put in the basis and it got me to my price of $14.25 for new crop canola. And I looked back at the basis and I was like, wait a second. It's a minus 66. Why? Why the heck are we locking in basis right now? Like, this is nuts. I think there's probably like $25 to gain there, maybe 30, depending on the situation. Anyways, it would just, we had a quick in our group chat, just a quick, hey, heads up, guys. I don't know if we should be doing this minus 66 basis. It doesn't really make sense. I'd rather wait this out because of the ongoing canola story that leads to, I think, at least a slightly more competitive base. I don't think that's a wild statement to make at a minus 66. At the end of it, I said, why are we locking in the worst basis ever? Like, should we really be doing that now? Like maybe in July, maybe in August, but in February, I don't think so, right? I don't think so. So that's just a watch out for you. If you're looking at setting targets, I've been chatting with the Lunchbox crew. I'm like, guys, look at futures, depending on where you're going. Crush plants, you're okay for the most part. I don't know if there's much to gain there in this scenario, but for your elevators, just keep an eye on that basis. All right. So that's a bit of a watch out for this week. I want to make mention here that, do you guys notice this week, like, the action is not, from a grain buyer perspective, the action is not really in February. It's not really in March either. And crush plants too. It's not really in March. It's in April and really it's in May. And so I know many of you out there, you want to look and you want to pick off some of the highest values of the year and you want to wait into the spring. And maybe you've been doing this your whole career. You're way further ahead for it. But I just want you to pay attention to, it is the middle of February and they're focusing their attention in May. In a rally, getting some numbers, $6 feed barley in Alberta, $15 canola across the prairies, some numbers that trigger that emotion, make that sale. It's smart, because who wants to haul grain during that time? It's often a peak, peak pain point for hauling grain at that time. And so that's why we find a peak price quite often. But I want you to pay attention if that gains more momentum and you're sitting here and say, well, our farm is always available to haul in May or during road bans. Some of that space is getting taken up right now. I'm not saying it's all going to be gone. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying pay attention to that, because if we have another week or something or so of a rally here and some more strength, you might get some companies that sit there and say, look at us, we did good. We're comfortable in May now, right? And then the crop gets planted. If conditions are good, then the market's June's not always friendly. Not in this environment when there's a lot of crop in bins, and there's a lot of crop in bins. It doesn't matter what part of the prairies. Where we talk to folks and farms, there's a lot of crop, and there has to be. Carryover has to be big. So some of you are carrying crop over into next fall, no matter what, right? So anyways, I thought that was really, really interesting. I also found it interesting that not many are talking about this higher feed barley market for old crop. Again, it's not lighting your pants on fire with excitement, but it's going the right direction, and new crop barley has been having a good week or so. Old crop feed barley's having a good week. Maltsters, you're up. All right, you're on deck here, guys. You don't have to. You can do whatever you want, but this is your time. You get to shine now. You get to come at us with, oh yeah, feed barley's this. Well, look at our new malt price. It's your time. Don't be shy. Phone your malt farmers and say, hey guys, guess what? We rallied as well. Here you go. All right, let's get after this. Let's go. That's kind of the two major ones. Of course, as you've heard, I'm a little friendly here towards wheat. That you're no stranger to the show. You know that storyline. The canola chart as of recording here. By the time you listen to this, guys, July might be at $700, right? We haven't traded $700 since late August on the July contract. Something like that. That 705 to 725 level, that was a July, early August thing. Like, we're getting to some pretty important numbers here. And again, when you fight your way back from the dead of 600 and 610 and go up to 700, I really hope that you're ready to rock and roll and execute your strategies. It doesn't, for some reason, it's strange how this happens. But this rally, it's been a work of art. You just the slow climb every day or two, just finding more strength, going higher. The little pullback, you feel good about it. Oh, it's down today, but it's not scary. You keep going up. They tell us that we take the stairs up, one at a time. Up the stairs we go. Markets are going higher. Life's good. And then when it turns bad, they say stairs up, elevator down. And sometimes that elevator is not stopping for a couple of floors. And it's weird how it happens. Doesn't mean it's a complete change in trend, but there will be some storyline, some fundamental thing that happens, and this thing just gets beat up. And in that moment, I've talked about this on the show lately. I've talked about this with the Lunchbox crew. If you want to try to hit the ultimate high of this market, you got to be ready to sell on these big down days, because that's your first sign you're going that far from the top. That is it. It's hard to do. It feels impossible to do. I don't like doing it. That's for sure. But you got to be ready to execute. Okay, you can stay patient. The market is healthy. I like targets. I like having my targets. I like having something to aim for and to shoot for. And that's what we've been doing. Is moving the needle on recommendations. And that way, if it does fly or does go down the elevator shaft here, we've got something done and we're feeling good about our percent sold. it's good. This is all great. But just, do your best to get some coverage on here and protect some profits and margins. That worst case, just figure out your strategy. All right. It kind of as someone who puts out advice and recommendations, the worst thing you hate putting out the recommendation on the down day. You hate it. You absolutely hate it. It's like, oh, this darn thing, and now everyone's going to be mad, and I got to put this out there, and we still got to sell this. It's brutal. But I've been preparing the Lunchbox crew with just strategies. And I even told them earlier this week, I'm like, here is a strategy that you can take the next day or two and get comfortable with. You don't have to execute this today, but think about this. Think about how this could play on your farm. Think about the risks. Think about the reward. Think about the strike levels. Maybe you want to tweak it a little bit, make it your own, have some adjustments, talk about it with your broker. This is something our farm's considering and why, the reasoning behind it. But give people time to digest, to chew on it. That's the best, when you can sit here and say, hey, this is an idea, and you can have a week or so to figure this out and see if if this is a fit for you on your farm. So anyways, yeah. All right. So I think markets wise, we all know the stories out there. We all know what's impacting this. So I don't have to talk about this in any greater detail here this week. So I do want to say, before we get to Tyler Yaremchuk here to talk about some Olympics and hockey and everything going on in the curling world, I even wear my curling t-shirt for this episode because it's an absolute gong show out there. I do want to remind you guys that we do have, coming up here at the end of February, a deadline with BrettYoung, the early book bonus. This is bonus 2. This is the second program. It expires February 27th. Book a minimum of 16 bags of any BrettYoung canola and earn a $20 rebate per bag. All right. Now, you know what? Let's get into it with Tyler Yaremchuk. We'll come back with eating your veggies. Let's get to Tyler, and we'll be right back. All right, folks, I've got Tyler Yaremchuk joining us once again from the Nation Network. You may catch him on shows like Daily Faceoff or Oilersnation every day, right, Tyler? That's the nooner every single day.
Yeah, noon Mountain, ON every day with my boy Liam, and at 10 a.m. Mountain every day, DFO, Daily Faceoff Live with Carter Hutton, the former NHL goaltender. So there's been a lot to talk about, even though the Oilers and the NHL are paused. The hockey world is buzzing, especially with what we saw today.
So moments ago, I believe it was Quinn Hughes, right?
Yep.
That scored the OT winner for the U.S. So a little bit of some nervous times for the U.S. Brass there as they were anxiously watching for that result. Earlier today, Canada. What do you think of that Czechia game earlier today? Like it obviously a tight one. We were behind a couple times in that game. Like, what were you doing?
I was at first sitting in my living room and then later on standing in my living room and nervously pacing around. But like, again, Canada rolled through the preliminary rounds. So it was kind of hard to get really emotionally involved and invested in this team as much as I want Canada to win really badly. All that. I went into this game and started with my feet up and my coffee in my hand, kind of being like, all right, what's the final going to be? 4-1, 5-2. And then the first 3-4 minutes of that game, Canada was steamrolling them. Like Connor McDavid with the big turnover led to a goal. Nathan McKinnon with a big hit. And again, it was kind of like, all right, Canada's going to roll through this hockey game. And then everything flipped. Czechia found a way to get back momentum. They got a couple of timely goals. And then it was Canada going into full-on chase mode, which was scary. And in that third period, when they scored to go up 3-2, it was flashbacks and nightmares of all those World Junior games that we've seen where Czechia pulls off the crazy upset. And I mean, listen, the depth scoring, that shift by Nick Suzuki is an all-timer. Every little decision he made from, again, his line mates are changing. Nobody would have batted an eye if he would have thrown that puck into the corner and laid back himself. He takes on a couple of Czechia players, outworks them, keeps the play alive, allows a group of fresh skaters to come in, gets rewarded by deflecting in that puck. A massive goal, and then in overtime for Mitch Marner to find that seam And for him to be willing to take that shot as well, like he's off balance on his backhand from a poor angle, and he finds a way to slip it in. I mean, that's Canada's superpower, as much as all of these games have been close. And I think these Olympic Games have really shown us that, like, even a team like Czechia, who they aren't full of NHL stars. They are not even full of NHL players. But the gap of those 1%ers who are the, pros around the world, not just in the NHL, the gap is so much thinner than we think it is. But that little bit more that Mitch Marner was able to give compared to what, I think it was Radim Simic of Czechia who missed that opportunity for them in overtime. That little bit extra, Canada having a little bit more skill on their bench was the difference maker. But like, I did not think I would be as entertained and as nervous throughout that hockey game as I ended up being.
Like a roller coaster of emotions. And like, I have a buddy who's just, I'm like in between things today, right, during this game. So I'm not catching it all. But my buddy writes, I love Jordan Binnington. My buddy does not love Jordan Binnington at all. But apparently he made a heck of a save in the last minute or so of the third period. So apparently we'll have to get him his Binner jersey ordered because,
he was unbelievable in this hockey game. And I got into a little bit of a debate with Jeff Merrick about this because he said, if Canada had that A-plus star level goalie, maybe that Palat goal, the third one, maybe that gets saved. Maybe you get one extra big save earlier on. And while I understand where he's maybe coming from, look at USA. They were able to win their game 2-1 today, and Hellebuck was awesome. Like, sure. Yeah. Jordan Binnington, for the level he can give you, was top notch today. Even before he stopped Natchez with 1:30, I think, remaining in regulation time on a breakaway, stopped him on the rebound of his breakaway attempt. And then, like I said, the big save sliding out on Simic in overtime. It wasn't just those, though. Couple of big glove hand saves early on in that hockey game. And the other part that's challenging is he has to sit in his crease, and he has, 10 minutes, sometimes 8, however long it is in between scoring chances because Canada's dominating. Like, it's not easy being a goalie of a team this good. And Binnington deserves full marks for that effort tonight.
Yeah, 100%. What do you think about 3-on-3 overtime in the Olympics in this format? Like, are you on board with this 3-on-3? Like, let's get after it. Let's get this thing going and get it done. Like, I thought it was going to be a 5-on-5 marathon. There's more hockey to play though. Like, where do you sit on the 3-on-3?
I don't love it either. I think, round robin, preliminary round. Yeah, we don't need guys playing a full another 20-minute period, and there's scheduling conflicts that go into all of that kind of stuff. So like, whatever. But when there are gold medals on the line and legacies on the line, I think you need to keep playing 5-on-5. And if you even wanted to do, like, I would give some time to like a 10-minute 5-on-5 and then do a 10-minute 3-on-3 or 10-minute 5-on-5 and then a 10 or a 5-minute 3-on-3, like however you want to stagger it out. If you don't want to commit to a full 5-on-5 for a 20-minute period in a game that's maybe not the gold medal game, but I don't love it. I don't think it's a great way to solve these hockey games when, again, like, these are legacy defining moments for a lot of players, and 3-on-3 just has such an element of randomness. Again, in a game that had McDavid, McCarr, McKinnon all on the ice, Radim Simic was almost the hero.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what, and it only happens every 4 years, and not even sometimes, right? So if it was the World Championship every year, okay, fine, maybe something like that. But man, this is the Olympics. This is McDavid's first Olympics, right? Also, feel bad for Crosby. I don't know. Did you get an injury update later on today? Like, pretty tough look for Crosby.
Yeah, and they're going to be tight-lipped about it. I mean, the fact he couldn't even come back to the bench, I think, probably says a lot about this thing. And, there's a time factor in all of this. The semifinals on Friday. It's not like they have 3 days off. The finals on Sunday. It's not like even if you sit him for the semi, you're buying him a ton of time. But Sidney Crosby's going to do everything in his power to play. And if there's one guy who can kind of raise his hand, if his NHL team comes calling and says, Sid, playoff push, like, take it easy. If there is any player in the world who can put up his hand and say, I'm going to play, even if I'm 60 or 70%, it's Sidney Crosby who can do that. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. All right, good stuff. Now, the last 4 teams. So we're going into the semifinals, Canada against Finland, the U.S. against Slovakia. Is Slovakia a sneaky bet here? Like, is they've been looking okay, right? Like, I haven't watched all of their games, but what do you think?
I mean, they are the definition of pesky. And listen, they are not, like, we talk about Czechia not being full of NHL stars or even of NHL players. Like, Slovakia is even more of an example of that. Like, they are not very experienced. Their best player is Juraj Slafkovský. They got a couple of younger NHL guys in there, like Dalibor Dvorsky, some names that people would maybe recognize, Thomas Tatar, but these are guys who aren't even in the NHL anymore. Like, the fact that they are where they are at for a second straight Olympics, might I add. If you go back to 2022, again, granted, no NHLers competing in that one, but they won bronze, and Juraj Slafkovský won the MVP at 17 years old of that tournament. So the fact that he's, again, he might win back-to-back Olympic MVPs. Like, what an insane accomplishment that would be. But goaltending, not an NHL goaltender. Like, the fact that they are here and the fact that they've even breezed through and, you know, pulled off a win against Sweden, were close against Finland, beat a German team that has Draisaitl, Stützle, Peterka, Seider. It is crazy. They are probably the best story of these Olympics. And, you know, it was a little bit before my time, but not all that long ago. I mean, before my time, like, covering the sport, where Slovakia was a hockey powerhouse, man, like the Hosas of the world and all of that. And it's been a long time since then. But to see them kind of building in the right direction is really, really cool. Yeah,
you bet. All right, I want to switch gears now. We'll stick with the Olympics, but I'm wearing a curling shirt today. I got a bonspiel coming up this weekend. What do you make of this curling controversy? It's been a little exciting for the sport of curling this last week or so. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I mean, a whole bunch of controversy, which, I mean, all publicity is good publicity.
Did you see today the action? Like, unbelievable.
Crazy. I had, like, when I saw that thing come up with Sweden and that rink and Oscar, I'm blanking on his last name, but it was kind of like, okay, this Nicholas Edin rink, they curl in Canada against Brad Jacobs and Mark Kennedy all year long. They're at all the Grand Slam events. If you had a problem with Mark Kennedy and him potentially doing a double touch or something like that, there was, and people who are going at Mark Kennedy and saying, that's not gentlemanly, that's not sportsmanlike the way he reacted. Whoa. There was a gentlemanly and sportsmanlike way for Sweden to go about that as well. They could have said before the game, hey, we noticed you double touch at the Olympics. You can't do it. We're going to be watching for it. Said, hey, we're putting the rules official on watch. For them to wait till they're losing, till their record already stinks, like all of that stuff. For them to wait when they did and do it in the fashion that they did felt like an attack on Canadian curling, an attack on Mark Kennedy as an athlete, who's one of Canada's greatest Olympians ever. It's insane that this is the fourth Olympics that he's actively participating in. I believe he's Canada's oldest Olympian. He is someone who, when you talk to people around the curling world, an unbelievable reputation. I had John Morris on Oilersnation every day yesterday. He echoed all these sentiments, and he agreed with me that, like, the timing of Sweden doing this was suspicious. So I hate that Canada is being painted as some sort of a cheating country, or that Mark Kennedy's reputation is being dragged through the mud. And it pisses me off that Sweden went and did this when they did. And for the Swedish media, I know I'm long-winded with this, but, like, the Swedish media running around and chasing him for quotes and quotes and quotes and saying, we're watching you against Czechia, we have more pictures. Like, it's gotten to the point where it's ridiculous. This has just gone to an insane point.
Paparazzi's originally from Italy, right? Is that not correct? Yeah. It's like a paparazzi type moment. But anyways, when I don't watch as much curling as I used to, but when I watch Kennedy make his shots, like, that to me is his delivery. Like, that, there's nothing he did there that I was like, what? Like, that's just how I think of his delivery, how I've seen his delivery. And then interesting that Sweden's, you know, their quotes, I don't know, yesterday were, you know, they're not sleeping, they're not eating, you know, Sweden's having a real tough go of it now. And I'm like, wait a second. I guess that's how it works every once in a while. So, yeah.
I was super fresh with that. And then today, like, I thought today with Canada and Italy, when the Italian skip nudged a rock, like, that was handled the way it's supposed to be handled. He kind of, you know, said, okay, I touched it. What did you see? Brad Jacobs, kind of as calmly as he could, explained what he saw. They called over the rules official, said, hey, this is what we want to do. Good. All right, pull it away. And, like, there was no argument. There was no F-bombs. It was gone about in a proper fashion. Canada didn't start freaking out on him, being like, you're a cheater. We know what you're doing. It was just like, hey, you nudged it. We're pulling it from play. Let's move on.
Well, all I know is that this weekend in Tofield at the men's bonspiel, the rule book will be followed strictly, because even 10 years ago it was. So I would think it will be no different this weekend. So anyways, are you watching anything else Olympic wise, Tyler? Or do you have it on during the day? Is there something you and the missus kind of zone in on at night to catch up on? Like anything catching your attention outside of hockey and curling?
The one that I can't kind of keep my eyes off whenever it pops up on the screen, and I'm trying to do a good job now that we're getting towards the end of, like, whenever I get an alert from one of the people I follow on Twitter. Devin Haru from the CBC is awesome for giving these alerts, by the way, if people want to use him as a resource. Fire up CBC Gem. You can pick the event. Like, that app has been awesome.
It's been awesome.
Well. Yeah. So good that it's just there and available for everybody to use and support the athletes. But the speed skating today I thought was absolutely electric. And when you get into like the short track kind of stuff where there's contact, and today was the relay where they're like heaving their teammates every time they kind of pass it to the next person. The speed skating's been awesome. And I loved, and I know we won a medal in it, but like the downhill snowboard kind of racing when there's like the sort of track, I don't know the right way to explain it, but they're like racing, 6 of them in a heat, and they're going over the bumps and ripping. I think that one's electric too. The only thing I don't like is ice dancing. Figure skating, I think I get a little bit, but the one where they're like, there's 2 of them and they're kind of doing the whole dancey routine of music, I'm out on that, in on everything else.
I'm going to have to find that one for my 5-year-old because she would love that. I have not caught that one yet, but I'm going to make a note of that for her because she'll like that. I guarantee that one. Yesterday, I'm watching, I think it was called like speed skating, maybe Team Pursuit or something like that. Canada won gold on the women's side. But they're doing this race. I don't know, it's like 10 laps or something. And they win by like a half a second. And it looked like a country mile on there. And even halfway through the race, the announcers are like, oh yeah, Canada's got this. And I'm like, how could you tell? It's a 1/10 of a second difference. And then at the end, it's a half second. It feels like forever, but your Olympic dream goal comes down to a half a second to me or less. 1/10 of a second is mind blowing. I've worked for this for 4 years, 8 years, my whole life, whatever it is. And it comes down to that. Incredible. Incredible.
The heartbreak, insane. The thing I like about speed skating too is like, you can kind of get an understanding for like the strategy and what's sort of making the whole thing impressive. The one that I will say I think would be amazing to watch in person, but doesn't translate well to TV are like the skeletons and the luges, just because I don't know, like, it's impressive because they're going fast and, the strategy of them transferring their weights and steering is all, I'm sure, very difficult to do. But on TV, it's just like, they're going fast. And I feel like it's almost like NASCAR where like you're only entertained if someone crashes. And I do not want to watch someone crash going 100 and some kilometers an hour on a sled. So that's another one where like I've tried to watch it a few times and I'm like, I don't understand what I'm seeing on TV, or like, it's not like there's 2 of them racing at the same time. So you're just watching the kind of time ticker go. That one I don't fully get either.
Yeah, you bet. Well, we're getting to the last couple days of the Olympics and some great finishes here, some great hockey. Do you have Canada, US in the final? Is that who you're going with, or are you going to keep that to yourself for now?
So in our initial predictions,
hockey, men's hockey, sorry.
Yeah, men's hockey. In my initial predictions for DFO, I had Canada, Sweden in the final. That's obviously gone out the window. Sweden was wildly disappointing at this tournament, but I just felt like, again, everybody just mapped it out perfectly to it will end up being Canada, USA. And I said coming into this tournament, there will be some massive surprises and shocks, and it will not go down that easy. Well, look at it now. I know it hasn't exactly been that easy. Both teams needed overtime today, but both will be heavily favorited in their semifinal matchups. Canada might get pushed a little bit, but it looks like we're heading collision course Canada, USA. It'd be tough not to bet on it at this stage in the tournament. And for Canada, I mean, on one hand, you get nervous about no Sidney Crosby potentially for that big rematch against Team USA. But what I will say, and I can't believe I haven't brought up his name yet, they added in a 19-year-old MVP candidate in Macklin Celebrini. And that is someone that they did not have at the Four Nations a year ago. He has been an absolute revelation, picked up an assist on the OT winner today. The way him and Connor McDavid just speak the same language out there is so impressive. So no Sidney Crosby could hurt if we get the Canada-USA rematch, but that addition of Macklin Celebrini is such a game changer for this team.
He's been unbelievable, and I haven't watched any Sharks games, right? And What a great story coming out of the Olympics. One last one for you. Everyone, back home here, the hockey teams, everyone's getting back from vacation. Oilers, I saw it on your guys' feed today, Oilers Nation, that Paul Coffey may be rejoining the Oilers bench. Is that rumor? Is that confirmed? What's going on with Paul Coffey and the Oilers?
It is confirmed. There had been rumblings about it for a while that, hey, this might be something they look to do. Paul Coffey did not return to the Oilers bench after last year. I mean, it was, painted as a mutual decision. And I do think it was. Like, Paul Coffey, you got to remember, when the Oilers first threw him onto the bench, he really didn't have a lot of interest in coaching. He had never coached at the professional level. He was like coaching a bantam hockey team in Toronto or whatever. So he kind of did it as a favor to the owner, I think. And then it went well, so he stuck around. I think there was a little bit of, hey, he's, getting up there in age. He doesn't want to commit all this time to being on the road in the grind of an NHL season. But it was getting to a point with the Oilers struggling. They lost 3 in a row coming into the break that, like, they have the open spot on the bench because they didn't replace Paul Coffey. You could add him back if you wanted to. And for Paul Coffey, again, he gets to come help this team. He's been kind of lingering all year, but not in any sort of super official capacity. You get to add him in now. He gets to come in for the sprint here and try to help this team fix a few issues. But I'll be honest, for the people, the Oilers fans who are clamoring for it, I'm kind of throwing up a little bit of caution, saying, like, this is not some sort of magic elixir. Paul Coffey standing on the bench is not going to make Darnell Nurse play better all of a sudden. It's not going to make Jake Wallman play better. Like, he can help some things, but ultimately, there's a lot of players who have not been good enough. Defense is also a 5-man effort when you're out there. They need some forwards to show better commitment on the defensive side of the puck. There is a laundry list of reasons why the Oilers have struggled to keep pucks out of their net, and a lot of reasons why they're sitting here heading out of the Olympic break still having lost more games than they've won this year. Loser points are propping them up big time. I would just be cautious to sit here and say, Paul Coffey's back, everything's fixed. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done, and this just isn't a simple snap your fingers solution in my eyes.
Do you think the Oilers are going to cook up some trades here? Like, it seems like a tough hill to climb with the cap situation and the pieces that we may be trying to deal away here. Like, do you think Bowman's got something cooking, or do you think it'll be pretty quiet this year?
I don't think we're getting a Matthias Ekholm or even a Jake Wallman for that instance. Like a big trade with big money coming back. Like, you're right. It's going to be too tough to do that with the salary cap. I could see a world, Andrew Mangiapane's the easy one to sacrifice out at this point. There's a couple of low price options out there, I'll call them. Bobby McMahon in Toronto only makes $1.63 million or $1.32 million, something weird number like that, but it's below $2 million. So that's a guy you could go out and get. If Columbus keeps 50% of Boone Jenner, that's a guy you could go out there and get. So there are a few options. They're going to do something. I just think if you're a fan sitting there holding their breath going, oh, LA got Panarin. Can we go get a star like Panarin? Like, the Oilers aren't going to be able to swim in those kinds of waters. And honestly, when you look at the standings, like in the Eastern Conference, you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams right now just outside the playoff picture are separated by 4 points. If you go into the West, I mean, Nashville, LA, San Jose, there's a bunch of teams who still think they're kind of in it here. There's not a lot of teams selling. So it's a seller's market right now. That means prices will be high. There's not a lot of players out there. Stan Bowman's going to do something. I just don't think it'll be a massive swap. More tinkering, we'll call it.
All right. Sounds good. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show this week. How can people catch your stuff?
Daily Faceoff on YouTube, Oilers Nation on YouTube, and then at Tyler Yaremchuk on Twitter. I'm always throwing out links and stuff like that on Twitter or x.com, if you will. We are doing a live watch-along on Sunday if Canada's in the gold medal game. So if you're sitting at home watching alone at 6 a.m. and you want me and Liam to be in the living room with you, you can throw that up on the YouTube. And I'm also doing post-game for every Canada game as well over on Daily Faceoff. So plenty buzzing around here as we head into what could be an unbelievable weekend.
Is that the start time Sunday for the gold medal game? Is it 6 a.m.?
It is 6 a.m. and I will be at Greta, and their hours have been changed, so the liquor will be pouring, Ryan.
I've already told our curling team we're forfeiting Sunday's championship game. I'm that confident that we're going to make it all the way. We're forfeiting because I'm not going to Tofield on Sunday. I'm watching this game. All right, man.
I'm going to say, whoa, at a Bonspiel, coming off the Saturday night, 6 a.m. game, are you waking up early or staying up late?
Oh, yeah, we'll see. I'll let you know. You bet. Yeah. All right, man. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Always fun to talk. This was fun talking Olympics and curling for sure. But Tyler's He's plugged into hockey and plugged into all things sport. So that was fun. All right. So let's do eating your veggies here for this week. We're going to be a little bit repetitive too, but it's cold right now. And I hope, number one, I hope that you are spending some time in the office, not just for year end, not just for tax purposes. All right. But I hope you're spending some time getting organized. I can't say it enough in this episode. Seeing the profit goal for our farm in 2026 really changes how you approach crop marketing. It takes emotion out of crop marketing. We need to take emotion out of crop marketing. I sit there and say, there is something achievable in a world where everyone has told me that it's going to be a crap year, that everybody is losing money, that markets are terrible. And I can still sit here and make a plan that gets us into a path of profitability, break even, everything's paid. There's some margin there at the end of the day. Mother Nature still holds the biggest cards, but I can control some of that. And to see that is very empowering. It feels good to say, hey, we can make it through this next year. If we grow a normal crop, yeah, we can get through this. What everyone's saying is so bad out there. We can figure out our path through this, right? That's powerful. Okay. So that's number one for this week. A little bit of office time, writing down your grain contracts, writing down your targets, even just flipping over your crop marketing plan. I'll say it in this book, but your plan, wherever that plan lives, and just dialing that in just a bit more. It's changed. If you haven't looked at it for 2 months, think about what's happened in some of these markets the last 2 months. It's changed. All right. Take some time to do that. Number two, I'm going to keep harping on this till the market goes and falls, but figure out your strategy on your canola. Figure out how to protect your bottom line. When I tell farms that I chat with, that some of the growers I work with are 100% hedged, 100% protected against downside, upside wide open. Market wants to rally, go for it. We're ready. We love it, right? But to not worry 1 second that if the bottom falls out of this thing, that you're exposed. Not everyone has to do that. Don't get me wrong. Not everyone has to do that. Not everyone can. I'm not saying that it's an absolute, but it's very powerful when you can remove the downside risk in a crop that for many farms is their largest acre, largest revenue generator. Yeah, figure out the strategies. Figure that out for your farm this weekend. You're busy watching hockey this weekend in Olympics, but next week, right? Figure it out. Okay. And last one, I think that, again, I don't have any right to say this to you, but if you are a barley grower here, getting some old crop and some new crop done on feed barley, malt guys, you hold on. You don't do this, just the feed guys. But I like getting a little bit done here, both old and new crop for that feed barley market. If you don't feel good about where values are today, then I don't know if you should be growing the barley in 2026. So yeah, I don't know. Again, I don't have the right to give you that advice, but I'm going to throw it out there. Anyway. All right, folks, that's it. We'll wrap it up for this week. I am looking, if you know any grain marketing advisor, analyst, anybody that wants to join me on Tuesdays on the live show on Cup of Coffee, I promise you we will fix the technology glitches we've been experiencing the last 2 weeks. Ryan at whatthefuturespodcast.ca. I'm looking for a handful more. All right. We've got some great people in the bucket. I won't go through all the names, but it's been awesome. Actually, every time we pick, it's been great. You pick out of the bucket and it's been somebody new, which we did have a chance of one duplicate. Actually, there was the 1 week where it was back to back, but we don't allow that. No back to backs. Anyways, looking just to fill that up just a bit more. So if you know an analyst, an advisor, somebody that works with farms, crop marketing wise, broker, hit me up, and I'd love to talk to them and see if they want to get their name in the bucket and get a chance to join the live show on Tuesdays. We have a great one for next week. We have a guest that I'm going to tell you guys because you're dedicated listeners and you're here at the end of the show. But I asked Josh Linville with Stone. I'm like, do you want to go in the bucket? Like, would you, you're a fertilizer guy, you're the guru. Would you be okay with being one of the people in the bucket? And he was like, absolutely. Let's do it. I'm like, okay, well, let's tee up the first one then. Let's get you on. So Tuesday, Josh Linville, bring your fertilizer questions. Let's not mess around. Let's figure out what we got for, buying here for the rest of this winter and for summer fill. Let's get Josh. We got him for 20 minutes. Let's figure this out with him on Tuesday. All right. This is the only time where I was like, oh, okay, his schedule was so busy. I'm like, I'll just fit you in right here. But after that, he's in the bucket. All right. And we'll see how it goes. Okay. Man, what else am I missing here? Yeah, Lunchbox Crew, we have a couple spots open. 2 spots open in the Lunchbox Crew right now. So if you want to jump on board for my version of crop marketing here for the 2026 crop, I guess now's the time. Go to the website, ryandenis.ca, and check that out. Guys, thanks a bunch. Thanks for hanging out. Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Nathan, for the What the Futures podcast. My name's Ryan. I got to go curling. So I'm out of here.